June 18th. Can't even say anything else. Special thanks going out to the Washington Nationals for ruining my day.
Oh, those sons of bitches, man. You have me waiting around for 3 hours. It maybe rained once for like 5 minutes. I'm sorry, I'm heated about that. We didn't talk about it before the show, but now you bring it. Go ahead, Josh. What a joke of an organization that is to pull that shit for us and for the fans, and then try and talk about some clubby rule or whatever they called it on their Twitter handle, where it's like, well, you can, get free tickets to the next game. Well, we're here and it's not raining.
I bought tickets to this game. That's
exactly
the whole purpose of this.
Right. Because I have a life and I can't just, it's like, oh, well, feel free to come back to tomorrow's matinee on a Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, you and I could do that. I don't know about the other family of four that took the time to buy those tickets.
Right.
Brutal, dude. Brutal. All it was on Twitter was just a bunch of people posting pictures of bright sunny skies. I've never seen a game get rained out due to no rain.
Dude, the Philadelphia Phillies Twitter handle was almost in awe over how poor. Like they're like, we have no idea. We still have no updates. It's not raining, but we still have no updates. And if you looked at the Nationals, the official handle for the Nationals, they'd post every 20 to 25 minutes, like, hey guys, we're still in a weather delay. Here's what you need to know. Take cover and this and that. Oh yeah, take cover for the sunny skies. What a joke. What a joke.
Absolute nonsense.
And why would you put okay, here's my thing. Like, are you that incompetent? Now, I'm no meteorologist, I get that. But you're looking at the radar. And I looked at the radar too. It looked like everything would have passed by about 11 o'clock. They didn't postpone it until right around 10. So at that rate, why wouldn't you just run it out for another hour? I think you have up until midnight actually to start a game.
Why would you ever delay the start of a game when it's not raining?
Exactly. But assuming you did for no rain, because you were worried about rain, and I guess it rained a little bit here and there, but it didn't start raining till like 9:30. You could have easily gotten 5 innings in and called that game.
Yep. Or waited it out to see what happens, but not what you did.
Exactly.
I hate you, Nats.
One or the other.
I hate you. I hope you see it. I hope the Google bots and the Amazon bots and everybody else that listens to this and shows me ads about meteorology and whatever else I'm complaining about immediately after these shows know this. I hate you, Nationals. I won't go to your games this year, mostly because I don't live anywhere near the stadium.
Oh, man.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it really was tilting. I'm sitting there watching The Bachelorette, enjoying a good Monday night. The Angels go off. They were chalk, of course, but still, the Angels were chalk. But honestly, Josh, I had more of the Nationals lefties yesterday and Corbin and Kingery than I mean, I had a lot of them, and it was almost like every lineup that was in some way affected by it. It was terrible.
Yeah. We'll get to that. I've got the lineup study up on the screen. Shout out to the boss man, not really affected by the Nats. Phillies game, banged out a second and third for 75K here. Was sitting in first and second at one point for 150, so losing out that first spot, not great. But 4-man Brave stack, 3-man Angels stack, a 5-man Angels naked stack, and 75 grand.
Who is that?
Alex Osimo Baker.
Oh, I never would have guessed.
Yeah, took second and third in the Mega 8s, the 888.
My God.
Meanwhile, like the fish that I am.
Was that the 888?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, yeah.
Meanwhile, here's the exposures for the mini max yesterday, with mine on the right-hand side with a crisp 50% number smack dab next to Patrick Corbin's name.
I know you had a lot. I know I had a lot. I know Adam had a lot. That was brutal, man. Did you have any?
I had 31% Masahiro Tanaka yesterday. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that there were a couple spots where he was overlapping with Corbin.
Did you have any Nats bats?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, I did. Every lineup I opened that was good had Pat Corbin and Matt Adams in it.
Yeah.
I was like, cool, all these lineups suck.
All I saw last night was like Shohei Ohtani and Upton, or Trout and Ohtani, or Trout and Calhoun sandwiching Juan Soto. Just like Juan Soto everywhere, Matt Adams everywhere. Yeah, what are you gonna do, man?
It's just
Honestly,
mm,
the part that pisses me because I know you're the same way. I'm willing to take risks when it comes to weather.
right.
More times than not, it works in your favor. That's the truth. More times than not, the game plays. Okay, especially if you're rostering hitters. But in an instance like this, I thought Washington had fixed this nonsense and that the league kind of cracked down on their bullshit, but apparently not.
I didn't even think I was taking a risk.
Well, I mean, no, there was a lot of weather in the area, but you're right, not till a lot later.
I didn't expect that they were going to postpone the game and delay the start with literally blue skies at the time of
So
first
get this,
pitch.
the
They st-
game was in a delay. It was supposed to start, I think, 7:05, 7:10. It was in a delay at 6:30.
yeah. And from that
Like,
entire stretch, the only thing I saw on Twitter were pictures of blue in the
yep,
sky from that ballpark. So
yeah.
I don't. What do you do there? How
Like
do you account for that? Other than just being like, oh well, the Nats do that from time to time. That's great. I can't. It's
right.
pretty hard to factor in.
And what's their excuse? Like, oh well, we didn't want a pop-up storm having someone get struck by lightning.
Yeah,
Like, come on now.
I feel like I got struck by lightning after this nonsense.
Yeah, and if I'm sitting there, I'll run that risk. I'm already at the game. You realize a lot of people that come to those games don't live in DC. A lot of people that go to Phillies games don't live in South Philly.
Right.
You're driving a good hour or more to get to these games. A lot of people. Stupid. All right, I'm done with that, but I need it just got get it out finally. Go ahead.
I'm with you. I'm with you. We got 15 games to talk about. We've been getting some monstrous Tuesdays. Not that that's shocking or anything, but
Nope. It'll be this way the rest of the season.
it will. It will. I want to see if we got ownership yet, and if we do, I'm going to grab that and we can get started because we're going to have a lot to talk about. Ownership is out as of 8 minutes ago, so thank you to Tom. It's so frustrating. So frustrating. Like, just to have that much Tanaka and have it all go to waste.
Yeah, what do you have? The complete game shutout with 10 Ks?
Yep, 47 fantasy points or something like that. And since
It's
he's
funny.
8K, I know that like most of that is coming with the 50% owned Corbin. Wouldn't have taken much.
It's funny because Tanaka's ceiling has been so low this year, and then he comes out and boom.
Yep.
You know who else? Jose Berrios. Dude, Berrios
Really nice start.
outside of like that first start of the season where he had double-digit strikeouts, his range of outcomes has been minuscule.
Yeah.
Like between 18 and 22, it feels like every week. So you price him up at 10K against Boston. I can assure you, I wasn't expecting 8, 10 strikeout innings.
No, Barrios, Porcello, Lance Lynn, all getting into the 30s. And then obviously Biggio being the leading hitter for yesterday.
Was he really the highest producing fantasy hitter?
He was indeed 34 fantasy points on DraftKings, 3 points ahead of Mike Trout.
Incredible.
All right, 15 games. Let's get the plugs out of the way first. MLB Strategies, the promo code. 50% off your first month with us. Any monthly package you choose, including packages with Fantasy Cruncher. If you want to check us out and get access to all of this good information, that's all you have to do. MLB Strategy, one word. You sign up, you get 50% off. And shout out to Yahoo Sports for being the presenting sponsor of this show and a few others. I'm going to grab the link right now to Emacs Spotlight Hitters article, which will contain a link to sign up at Yahoo. Use the link from Emacs article and read the article. Take the advice. Read my Spotlight pictures too while you're at it. They're both there. Use the link in the article. Sign up at Yahoo. It helps us out. Doesn't affect anything that you're doing. And you could use the promo code AWESOMO and get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports Rewards points. The YSRPs. Yesterday's star, Rick Porcello, actually worked out for that one. I didn't get a chance to make that joke, but it worked. He was fantastic yesterday.
He was.
Let's see what the status is on the no management fee contest right now. 6K guaranteed, $3 to enter, 2K, 2,000 entries. We already have 1,400. If you're looking to get into this contest right here on the screen, 6K guaranteed, $600 to first, no management fee whatsoever. If you want to get into it now. Otherwise, you're gonna run out of time. This will fill around noon, so If you're listening right now and you want to play it, go play it. Otherwise, it's going to go away. It's the best contest in the industry by far. Here we go. You ready?
Let's make it happen, baby.
Here we go. Pirates and Tigers. 4.6 run implied total for the Pirates. 3.9 for the Tigers. 58% chance to win for Pittsburgh. Mitch Keller going for the Pirates. Daniel Norris going for the Tigers. Keller getting a little bit of love. Low double digits in ownership on the two pitcher sites. Do you have any interest here in Keller? Tigers obviously not a vaunted offense, and there's a little bit of swing and miss.
It's kind of difficult because he's one of the Pirates' top prospects, but he's just looked terrible since arriving at the major league level. Now, to be fair, he's faced the Braves in Atlanta and Cincinnati in Cincinnati. Cincinnati isn't a very good offense, but that's a garbage park for pitching. What I do find interesting about Keller when you refer to the swing and miss stuff is he is missing some bats, and at a discounted price point, that's sometimes all that matters. The biggest thing here, I think, is going to be, and we'll get to this throughout the show as we move along, because while we put in our numbers and the totals and look over everything before the show, we're still taking a preliminary look along with you.
Yeah.
So some of our decision making is, influenced by talking to each other this morning. I would be surprised on a 15-game slate if Mitch Keller is the best low-end value we're getting. So that would be the only thing. I feel like he'd be a lot more appealing if it was a smaller slate. But yeah, look, a really high K rate for the Tigers. Not a good baseball team whatsoever. He's going to face a lot of righties, and he hasn't done a terrible job missing bats. His swinging strike rate this season is almost 10%. So nothing outstanding, but I guess you could do worse.
Yeah, I think 10% on DraftKings seems about right in a matchup against the Tigers.
Yeah, that's exactly where he should be.
Yeah, I don't have like a hot take about it or anything. That just seems like a reasonable spot to take a starter against the Tigers when they're $6,900 or $28 on Yahoo, $3 above the minimum. I don't have anything like really cool to say about Mitch Keller. Like that's just, he's interesting enough because Detroit's Detroit.
Yeah, and it is surprising to see. What did you say you had the Tigers run total at?
3.9 is what I had from this morning.
Okay, yeah, I think it moved a little bit to 3.8, but I think it opened at 4.3.
Okay.
It's down to 3.8. And Mitch Keller's a pretty heavy favorite here at home. Good park, good matchup, favorable odds against or in favor of him. I think that total, that implied total and money line is probably playing into ownership a little bit too, Josh.
Absolutely. Do you expect to get any bats here? A little bit of love coming to some of these Tigers, actually. Kristen Stewart at 13%. John Hicks, first base catcher option, as if you're using him at first base, 11%. But neither team really getting all that much love. It seems to be more one-off guys that have dumb prices. Like Jung Ho Kang is at 19% on FanDuel, 10% DK, 10% Yahoo. But neither team seems to be getting stacked up, and I pretty much agree with that.
Yeah, not a good park.
No.
There's just so much to choose from here. And while Daniel Norris isn't particularly good, he's not a pure gas can either. Like if he went out and gave up 3 runs across 5 innings, that's what I would probably expect from him, right?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like he's not prone to get blown up. He's not prone to be out there and just be good. Like he's the guy that you expect to give up, 4.5 to 5 runs every 9 innings.
Yep, exactly. Hey, by the way, what do you make of Keller's BABIP being like 600 against lefties and righties? It's a really small sample, but do you think we should make the argument that he's been very unlucky? Because he's given up a lot of fly balls and a good amount of hard contact. I don't know what to make here after only 2 starts.
I was going to say, he's faced 40 batters. It's just not even a stat to me.
Yeah, it's really tough.
Yeah. I mean, if we see that again at the end of July and it's at 450 or something, I don't know, then he's going to look a lot like John Gray last year, I guess.
Right.
But not the pitcher that John Gray is.
Yeah, his whip is above 3.
Oh my God. You should not be giving up 3 walks and hits in an inning.
For innings pitched.
Yeah.
It's remarkable he's gotten through an inning at all.
For real.
Numbers, right?
For real. I mean, at 40 batters, we're talking about almost half.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I mean, it's more than half, right?
Yeah, if it's 3 per inning.
Yeah. Where's the totals line? He's given up 17 hits and 4 walks, so 21 of 40 batters have reached base.
How many innings overall has he pitched?
7.
Jeez. That's
21 of the 40 batters he has faced have either gotten a hit or been put on base via walk.
Wow.
9 of them struck out. So 30 of 40 either got a hit, a walk, or a K. Not a lot of people putting the bat on the ball.
Man.
Hitting it to a human being, at least.
I want to say it's like a high volatility option, but maybe it isn't. Maybe we just expect base runners and hope the non-base runners strike out.
I don't have anything else in this game. Kristen Stewart is probably my favorite bat.
Yeah, that was the only other guy I would have referenced to. Outside of that, I think we can do a lot better elsewhere.
Yeah. There are much better games. I mean, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams with a run total higher than 5, and that could wiggle a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't need to force in Pirates and Tigers. Yankees and Rays, 5.3 run implied total for the Yanks, 4.6 for the Rays, 57% chance to win for New York. J.A. Happ going for the Yankees. Should be Ryan Yarbrough going for the Rays. I believe Stanek is going to start it off. Happ not getting much love, 7% ownership on DK. That's the highest number across all 3 sites. No ownership really going to Yarbrough, and I don't really love the price. I find it interesting that Yarbrough, the amount of time that Yarbrough pitches is very dramatically different. Not that I'm surprised by it, I guess, but it's very different whether he gets the straight start or if he comes in. When he gets the straight start, he's always going like 7 innings. If he comes in as the long man, he goes like 4 1/3.
Oh, it makes no sense at all. Like, it makes no sense whatsoever, which is why it's been so difficult to try and project him for anything. Like, how are you projecting a guy that might throw 50 pitches or might throw 110? Like, he literally threw 110 pitches 2 outings ago.
Yeah, but if he's not starting and Ryan Stanek is, then I gave him 4 2/3.
Right. No. I hear you, but at the same time, I still don't know. Like, 4 2/3 sounds about right, but we don't know how they operate. We know that the only thing predictable about it is this is a very unpredictable situation when it comes to, if Chirinos is the long man, or now, it's been Jalen Beeks or Yarbrough. It's pretty difficult. But I guess I'll throw this at you. Yarbrough is 6,500 on DraftKings. Like, are you willing to consider him there?
In New York, in this game, absolutely not. I have zero interest in Ryan Yarbrough no matter what. I mean, if you told me he pitched 7 innings, I would want him because that generally means that you're pitching well. Stanton back. Stanton, Sanchez, Encarnacion, 3, 4, 5 in this lineup. Luke Voit, Aaron Hicks, Torres, Gregorius. Dude, Ryan Yarbrough is in for a world of hurt today.
Yeah, I think if anything, you're looking Yankees here.
Yeah. And they're not getting any ownership.
No, generally speaking, lefties at Yankee Stadium are better than righties just because of that right field.
Yeah.
But not when you've got a slew of power righties in the lineup from top to bottom.
It doesn't matter where that damn fence is for Stanton, Sanchez, and Encarnacion.
Right.
They're not hitting a lot of soft ones that are going 364 or something. They're going 440 into the upper deck.
Oh yeah, no. This is going to be a tough one for Yarbrough, and he really has struggled in many spots this season to begin with. For me, it's Yankee bats.
Yeah, that core in the center, that Voit, Stanton, Sanchez, Encarnacion group. Granted, they are expensive. All of them over 5K except for Voit, who's at 4,900. But Hicks at 44 is not bad. Pick a shortstop between Gregorius and Torres on DK. You get Torres at second on FanDuel. They're owned average. There's 30 teams on the slate, so average ownership is 3 1/3. and that's where the Yankees are right now. They have a much higher chance of being the top stack today than league average. I'm gonna go out on that limb.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%, but I want to know, where are you at on J.A. Happ? The Rays have the second highest active K rate against lefties, 26.5%. Since Encarnacion was out of Seattle, you saw the active roster K rate shoot through the roof for the Mariners. It's number 1 in the league.
Yeah.
They're running 5 lefties out every night against left-handed pitching. It's bad. But the Rays are second. 26.5% collective strikeout rate is very high. They are a good team, but on the season overall, they've been a lot better against right-handed pitching. Their ISO is nearly 50 points higher. Their WOBA is significantly higher. Their WRC plus goes from 118 against righties to 101 against lefties, and their K rate shoots more than 4% against lefties. So, do you have interest in Happ here at a pretty only 2 pitcher sites, by the way, but $7,500 on DraftKings and $38 on Yahoo?
I don't really have much. He seems fine in this middle section. He's probably my favorite guy below 8K. I just like too much at the top right now that I don't think that I'll be going all that much lower than Corbin outside of like little shares. But Happ's only at 7%. Wouldn't shock me if I was in and around that number. I don't have like a strong take for him. He's just kind of there for me.
Yeah, and he's not a particularly high upside pitcher, but he has also looked a lot better lately. I think that 7 to 10% ownership range seems pretty on point.
Yeah, it's a lot like Keller for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that number makes sense, and I figure I'm around it.
Yep. Yeah, I'm with you there.
But I want to get as many Yankee bats as I can, even if they're not getting fully stacked. I mean, the idea of having one of most of these guys is incredibly appealing to me.
Oh, no question.
Welcome back to Stanton, I guess.
Sure.
5,200 coming straight in. $20 on Yahoo. 4K on FanDuel. I'm in for it. I am in for it. Do you know when Judge is back? Soon, right?
It should be, yeah. Let's see. I'll tell you right now.
Tell you what, man, they need a lefty power bat. Like, whoa, this is just a sea of right-handed mashers.
Yeah, Brett Gardner doesn't exactly get the job done.
No, not so much pop.
Later this. So Boone suggested it could be later this week.
Oh, okay, cool.
You know what's funny about this, though? I don't want to take up a lot of time, but it's really interesting. Now that these guys are returning, they become a far more dangerous lineup, but also a far higher upside matchup for opposing pitching.
Yep. Yeah. Strikeout rate starts to climb big time because Stanton strikes out a ton. Judge, when he gets back in, strikes out a ton. Yeah, they become a significantly more volatile lineup.
Exactly. Right. You could run out, Chris Sale against them. He has 15 strikeouts. The next time he faces them, he gives up 6 runs.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a boom bust spot both for the opposing pitcher and for the lineup itself.
I love that. I love that for opposing pitching because you're going to get these days where the Yankee stacks are ultra chalk.
Yeah.
And they're facing a decent enough pitcher with good strikeout stuff against righties, and he'll be in play.
They absolutely will. Do you want any Rays bats here against Happ?
Happ has allowed 14 home runs to righties this season, which is
Tommy Pham looks kind of tasty.
Yeah, Tommy Pham is nice. 2.14 home runs per 9 is the number that you're getting against righties for Happ. So it is significant. There's no question. But I don't love any righties here. Pham would be the guy that I like most. But outside, and also Zunino might see a slight boost in the order. He's really cheap. So that is perfectly reasonable. Or if it's Darno, cheap bats could make sense, but I'm not looking to stack this Rays team tonight.
They're really hard. I mean, if they really are going Garcia, Pham, Meadows 1, 2, 3, that's 3 really expensive outfielders in the most opportune spot. So I don't get the sense that they're a good 5-man spot. But if I got a little bit of Avisail Garcia or Tommy Pham, I wouldn't be surprised if I had them as one-offs. But that's about it.
And I do think Happ was a little bit unlucky to start the season. Well, actually, no, maybe not. No, I guess not. just looking over, BABIP and XFIP and everything, he's arguably been luckier than he should be.
J-Hap, good luck today, buddy. Rays are solid.
Good team.
Yeah, just got embarrassed by Masahiro Tanaka. Maybe they'll be angry. I don't even want to type this name in right now. I hate you. I hope this game falls off the slate. Nats and Phillies. 5.1 run implied total for the Nats, 4.9 for the Phillies, 51% chance to win for the Nationals. Hope it's not raining in Baltimore. They might shut this one down. Pat Corbin going for the Nats. Jake Arrieta going for the Phillies. I liked Corbin quite a bit yesterday. I thought that he was going under-owned. He's at 10% on Yahoo, 12% on DK, 2% on FanDuel today. I feel the same way now that I did yesterday. The difference being there's a lot more pitching talent at the top than there was. It's Jake DeGrom at 10-3 today and not Luis Castillo and Mike Soroka. So while I like Corbin and I'm absolutely positively going to be over that 12% number on DraftKings, it's not going to get to 50 because there's too much other talent today. How do you want to handle Corbin?
That's kind of the thing. Like you said, you feel the same way as yesterday, but you don't. Not in a vacuum, sure, but in context, neither of us do.
Yeah, I don't feel any different about Corbin. My stance is the same. The salary is similar. That's all the same. But we're judging him against a different group of players now.
Exactly. There's some really good talent on this slate. Here's my thing. If Corbin's there and you're stacking expensive teams and you need all the salary you can get, the upside that Corbin offers in the form of strikeouts is significant, and it's more than good enough to get there.
Yeah.
But I'm probably going to do what I can to get up to Brandon Woodruff in a lot of spots.
I don't disagree. I prefer Woodruff to Corbin.
I'm in love with Woodruff this season and a matchup. Now, I didn't see a run total on San Diego. I gave him 3.4. I think they're going to have a really low total in this game at Petco Park. I think Woodruff's going to be a monster road favorite with Logan Allen towing the rubber for this Padres team. So, yeah, I mean, everything about Corbin I said yesterday still stands outside of he's the best pitching option in his price range.
Yeah, I'm with you. He looks good. 8,200 on DraftKings is just too cheap. Like, I can't really say anything else there.
Right.
9,400 on FanDuel is about where he should be. I'm going to have, he's at 2% ownership, though, on FanDuel, so I know that I'm going to have more than that. Not by, any sort of appreciable amount. He's not going to be a bulk guy like he was yesterday. He's not going to end up in 50% of my DraftKings lineups. That much I know. But I want to have a little bit more.
I'm with you.
Do you want in Jake Arrieta? Oh, no.
Remember how I was saying yesterday how many Washington bats I had?
Yeah.
That should answer your question. I love Juan Soto. Love him here. He's $4,100 on DraftKings. That's absurd.
He's a cash outfielder today.
That's downright. I don't understand. We talk about how cheap Bryce Harper's been all year.
Yeah.
Dude, Juan Soto is an excellent baseball player facing a righty in Jake Arrieta, who has been hammered by left-handed hitting all season long. I mean, you look at these numbers from Arrieta. He's allowed double-digit home runs to lefties, 2.39 per nine. Monster ISO, a 5.75 xFIP. I really like Soto. I really like Adams. I'll throw Eaton into the mix as well. But Soto is the guy that I really, really like for this Washington team.
I can't disagree at all. I prefer Trey Turner in the leadoff spot just because he's a shortstop and he's leading off. But I mean, Juan Soto is giving you what you want in a DFS play. Lefty-righty matchup, massive power. You're playing him to try to get the home run, and it's being boring out in ownership. 17% expected on Soto on DraftKings today.
Yep. I do think there's a pretty significant stipulation with Trey Turner, though. If Real Muto's nuts are still acting up and he's out of the lineup, that's a big upgrade for Trey Turner. Look, we know he's going to run anyway.
Yeah.
But Real Muto, and I've always said, when it comes to the pitcher-catcher battery, pitcher has more to do with it than the catcher does. But Real Muto has more to do with it than most catchers do, put it that way. Very, 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 very good at holding runners or throwing runners out. So if it's Andrew Knapp behind the plate again, that's a great asset or a great upgrade for any base stealer specifically Trey Turner. So it's worth keeping an eye on, in my opinion.
Agreed. And the most likely scenario is that it just rains all day and they cancel this one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I like Scott Kingery a lot too, especially if he's batting third. I think he's as good as he was advertised to be when they gave him those 5 years. It didn't look great, but man, he is really hitting well, and looks like he's finally confident enough. I hate to use that, description of him, but like the kid just looks like he's finally comfortable at this level.
Yeah, I actually like the Phillies quite a bit here. Segura,
Huh?
Real Muto, Hoskins, all grading out really well. You're checking off a shortstop, a catcher, a first baseman, so you're getting unique positions. You can fill out that fourth or fifth guy sort of however you want. They're priced in the mid fours. That's not all that scary. Right-handed power plays up in Washington. I think there's a path to getting some of these Phillies bats against Corbin.
Listen, Corbin's far from infallible.
Right.
And we've seen that this year. It's also interesting that his strikeout rate against righties has predictably fallen to 23%. That's good. It's slightly above average, but it's not elite. You're not going up there and just knocking them all out by way of strikeout. So I think that's pretty significant. And he's allowing almost 1.5 home runs per nine to righties. There's definitely some upside here for Philly bats. Kingery and Hoskins would be my 1 and 2 there. Phillies lineup's just so watered down.
Hoskins for me is number 1.
Yeah, I mean, if Bruce is, not that you like Bruce, but in terms of the lineup in general, like Real Muto could be out again. McCutcheon's done for the year. Bruce has got the hamstring. It's not the same lineup it was 2 weeks ago.
No, it is not. Oh man, sorry, Pat Corbin, but I'm probably gonna have a little bit against you tonight.
I did yesterday. I just had so much of this game.
Same.
Like on it, pitching and hitting on both sides.
And they're going to do it again tonight. They're going to keep everybody waiting until lock and then bone everybody. So
yeah,
it's going to be a rough one for people trying to play Nats and Phillies bats today. That's for sure.
No rougher than yesterday.
To the Blue Jays we go. Jays and the monstrous offense of the LA Angels just coming out, and I'm really surprised to see that they beat up Edwin Jackson that bad.
So am I. But I was actually thinking about asking you this before we started the show. I was going to ask you once we got to this game. Do you buy in fully to the hype that this Angels offense is as good as they've shown all season long?
I think
now they get Justin Upton back.
I think they're really good.
Yeah, so do I.
I think they're really good. Slight favorites here, 4.8 run implied total, 52% chance to win. It's Marcus Stroman versus Tyler Skaggs. Neither guy getting any ownership on all 3 sites. I don't have any interest in Stroman or Skaggs. Both good pitchers, not kind of the DFS guys that I want today.
No, me neither. Skaggs in good spots is definitely someone that I'd be willing to roster. I don't think I get there today for some of the same reasons that we've already talked about. I'm not getting enough of a discount from, say, Brandon Woodruff.
Exactly. I would much rather have Woodruff. I would much rather have Corbin. Skaggs is just, he should not be 8,500. Not today.
He's pitched 63 innings. He has 64 hits and 64 strikeouts. He's not a terrible pitcher.
No.
But he should probably be like 7,900.
That would make a lot more sense. I like his price on FanDuel more than I like it on DK.
Right. Yeah, like J.A. Happ's price is where he should be, in my opinion.
So these Angels bats are a little popular. Surprise, surprise. Trout, Ohtani, Upton, Tommy LaStella at the top. You think you're going to be stacking up Angels today? I
don't. And I've said this a lot. I have a lot of respect for Stroman just as a pitcher with an ability to limit a lot of run damage. He's only allowed 7 home runs on the season. He does keep the ball in the yard. He's not a great pitcher from a strikeout standpoint, although I think if he wanted to be, he probably could be. Yeah. It's just easy for him to put balls on the ground. I don't love the Angels here. And one thing I hate about this Angels team is when you stack them now that Upton's back, you've got Trout, Ohtani, Calhoun, and Upton all at the outfield spot. No multi-position eligibility there. It's kind of brutal. Like yesterday, had you played all four of them or been able to, would have been beautiful.
Yeah.
But, you can't do that. And then, your whole team is all Angel outfielders. I don't mind that. But on a slate like this, I don't feel like it's necessary against Stroman at all.
No, I'm much more likely to get Trout, Ohtani, and Upton in individual lineups as a one-off or maybe like a two-man pairing.
Well, Calhoun's really cheap as well. Like he's below 4K on DraftKings. It's not that I have issues with these guys, but I think it would be more one or two offs than full stacks.
Yeah, I completely agree, especially because of having Stroman on the opposite side. It's not as if we're just going up against a literal gas can like yesterday.
Exactly.
We sat down. I signed off the show. I passed on Justin Upton because he was just coming back, so I didn't want him to be my home run pick. By the time I can walk to this restaurant in 10 minutes. Like it's that close. Through a development, I'm there. By the time I sat down, my phone had already vibrated, told me Justin Upton homered. 5 minutes later, everybody else homered. Ohtani, Trout, the whole damn team homered. And I was just like, oh, cool, it's going to be one of those. And then none of it mattered, even though that I had as much Angels as the field, because thank you to the Nats once again. Yes. Can you tell that I'm bitter? Can you tell that I'm upset about it?
I can.
Any Blue Jays bats here against Skaggs? Because I think $3,800 Vlad Guerrero Jr. looks pretty damn tasty.
Well, the whole team is cheap, man. This entire team continues to be pretty heavily discounted. And to me, it will continue to put them in play. They're not all super cheap. Like Gurriel is what, 4,400? But outside of that, and Sogard, but it's a lefty-lefty matchup. I don't have a ton of interest there.
No.
I know Randall Grichuk hasn't been very good, but he's basically free.
All he does is hit solo home runs.
Right. But at that price point, I'd be perfectly fine with a solo shot.
Yeah, for sure. I just mean, like, I was watching one day, he has like 14 on the year, and 13 of the 14 were solo shots. And I was like, okay, cool.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That was like Ryan Howard towards the end. All he could do is hit solo shots and strike out on breaking balls. But
that's pretty much all he did from the beginning.
No, he didn't strike out a lot at all at the beginning.
That is not true whatsoever.
Okay. In those 50 home run seasons?
Hold on. I want to be right here so damn bad.
But what do you qualify?
I mean, he had like a 30% K rate for like ever. 28% for his career.
Yeah. Tell me about his first few years.
Okay, where's the big one? The 58 home run year, 26% K rate.
Right, that's not that much for Ryan Howard, and you would agree.
I mean, it's below his career average. I would agree that is a lower number. But
what about the following?
What was carrying him was his batting eye. The fact that he also had a 15% walk rate.
Right. Oh, dude, he drew a lot of walk. Now, you're right. Hey, 26% for anyone else is high, but what was he striking out at towards the end is what I mean.
29, 27, 31 in the last year where he was physically broken.
Yeah, you know what, though? If that's where it's at, then I'll say you're right on that. I thought he was more like 24% and 32% towards the end.
It was kind of all like, it was random variation around 27. Basically, it was where he was going to end up.
Yeah. I
just like bitching about Ryan Howard.
All you had to do is throw him breaking balls at the end. But it's funny you say that because in the beginning, he could lay off them, so they had to throw him pitches over the plate.
Yeah, you would get to the point then where he would have. Where's the number here? What year? He hit 58 home runs in 2006. So in 2006, that season, not only did he K 108, he hit 181 Ks in 2006, 199 and 199 in 7 and 8, but he also had 108 walks.
Well, didn't he hit 50 home runs in multiple seasons?
Nope.
What do you have, like 48?
He went 47, 48, 45 in the next three, though. So
which is that's pretty decent.
Yeah. Dude, he hit. I was at a Red Barons game when he was still in the minors. Shout out to the Red Barons.
Not really.
Going old school now. He hit a foul ball. We were just bouncing around the park. but we were sitting in the upper level, sort of behind home plate, but shaded to the first base side. And he hit a ball basically straight back at us to the point where I thought it was going to take my face off. I didn't even try to catch it. All I did was try to dive out of the way. I've never seen anybody line one back so hard. I was terrified for a split second. It sounded like a shotgun went off when it hit one of the chairs.
That's crazy. Yeah, you think about 58, 47, 48, 45. That's some of the 4 best seasons consecutively that you'll ever see. Not to mention, look at his RBI total: 149, 136, 146, and 141. It's crazy. And then he tore his Achilles in the postseason on the final play of the series. Remember that?
I do.
Never the same.
No. I mean, it's not like he was going to age gracefully one way or the other, but that certainly wasn't going to help.
No, I mean, I agree with that, but there was a precipitous drop-off.
Oh, from the moment it happened, he was done.
Yeah.
Done.
Well, I mean, how big he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Anyway, Blue Jays and Angels.
How did we get to that again?
Because you and I have a show today. At least it's baseball.
Yeah, from 2006.
I'm talking about minor league baseball games for a team that doesn't exist any longer.
From a decade and a half ago.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm probably like a high school senior.
How about those Expos?
You know who was really good? Tris Speaker.
Pull up Baseball Reference again. All right, let's go, man. We're through 3.5 games.
Oh God! All right. Reds
Actually, no, we're through 4 games.
1, 2, 3.
Go with Gurriel, and if you like some righty bats for Toronto, they're inexpensive. It makes sense, and I'm pretty sure their run total here is pretty decent. It's at 4.6. I don't have an issue with that.
Okay. Reds and Stros. This one we actually have something to talk about. 3.5 for an implied total for the Reds. 4.5 for the Astros. 60% chance to win for Houston. Anthony Desclafani going for Cincinnati. Justin Verlander going for Houston. Verlander, 22% ownership on Yahoo, 20 on DK, 8 on FanDuel. Yes, 8. It's not a number you normally hear, but Justin Verlander is $12K on FanDuel, $1,300 more than the second most expensive pitcher. He's 11.9 on DraftKings and 62 on Yahoo. Most expensive pitcher, clean across the board. I love him. I think he's the second best option today, but a matchup in Cincinnati, a big-time hitter's park, against a team that doesn't really strike out all that much. This is a pretty bad spot for Justin Verlander as far as DFS games go.
Yeah, until you realize he's Justin Verlander. But the big thing, like you pointed out, is you're paying a premium for the bad matchup, and that's what is kind of difficult.
Exactly.
You know, I had said when he faced Milwaukee, I don't think it's a bad matchup because while they have power, they have a ton of strikeouts as well. He struck 15 out, gave up 3 solo shots. I'll take that any day of the week, right?
Yeah.
Hell, give me 5 solo shots with 15 Ks. I don't care. Hell, that night you could have had mini stacks for the Brewers with Verlander in one tournament.
Yeah, I know. It's insane.
Right? But he's such a workhorse. He can throw as many pitches as necessary to get out of whatever inning he's in. Put it this way, if anybody were to roster Verlander today, just because he's Justin Verlander, I wouldn't have an issue with it. But oddly, Verlander is kind of like any slate, no matter the size of the slate, no matter the matchup, he always has high ownership projections.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah,
especially on DraftKings.
1, 2, 3. He has the 4th highest right now, but there's a lot of people in the 17 to 20 something range. So,
but he's still at 20 on DraftKings, right?
That's a big number. Yeah, 20
for
11.9
gamer at great. Yeah.
Now it's easier to get to him on a 15 gamer because you have infinite bats. You can make anything work. I figure I'll be around that 20 number.
Yeah, look, I don't have any issues with it. Once again, going back to Woodruff, Jack Flaherty against Miami at sub 9K on DraftKings. Flaherty on our sponsor Yahoo's 42, which is a bit up there, but nothing crazy. Woodruff isn't crazily overpriced. Meanwhile, Verlander's $62 on Yahoo. Like I actually think that's a little bit prohibitive or unnecessary on this slate. There's some good pitching, and we still haven't gotten to a lot of it. And as you pointed out, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys on DraftKings with double-digit projected ownership.
It's either all or nothing for pitching today. People are either on someone or they're totally off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have some Verlander, but this is not the spot where I would say that I'm gonna get an overwhelming amount, even though he's clearly either the most or second most talented pitcher. Price matters, and today it matters a lot.
Yep, certainly does.
I kind of like the top of the Reds lineup. Not as like a team that I'm going to have some crazy amount of volume against, because let's be clear here. They're still facing Justin Verlander. It's a terrible spot. It's about as bad as it gets for Cincy. But they're really easy to get to. They've got a lot of guys at the top of the order that cross positions that are important. First, second, third. I can see getting to a couple small stacks of the Cincinnati Reds today.
Yeah, it's not out of the question. It's humid at Great American. At 75, 76 degrees. Like, it's always good hitting weather there.
Yeah.
But I guess the question would be, how necessary is it on this slate?
Like, Derek Dietrich has the most ownership on DK at 3%.
Right.
If I had everybody at like 5, I'm cool with that. Just a little bit of it, just enough. Verlander's got 20% ownership. Just in case he gets Homer happy again, I have a piece of it. It's probably less likely to be a 5-man than it's probably more likely to be like a 3 or a 4-man than a 5-man, but I see that path today.
I'm not going to argue it. I don't think I'm there with you, but as one-offs is where I'd probably be coming in at. You kind of see what happened with Verlander last week with the solo shots. I'm not super interested in trying to pick out 3 or 4 solo shot home runs, because generally that's not going to happen. But a very cheap Dietrich or Jesse Winker or whatever it is, I don't have a huge issue with that just because they're cheap.
Any Astros bats here against DeSclafani? DeSclafani going completely unowned.
DeSclafani is not bad against righties.
Yeah.
At all, actually. And I do take that into consideration pretty heavily. So, well, actually, what am I talking about? Yordan Alvarez, even at his elevated price point, might be one of my favorite plays on this slate. What's his ownership coming in at?
0, because he's not in my projected lineup.
Okay. Why not?
He's not in any of them, I don't think.
You don't think he should be?
He's not in our ownership projections.
No, I mean, do you not think he's going to be in the lineup against DeSclafani?
I'll be honest with you, I don't ever look into it. I have no idea. Like, I don't pay attention to it.
I only say that because he's been literally starting every day and he's been phenomenal.
I mean, that's more information than I have in my head.
Okay. Let's see. Hold on a second.
It's not something that I ever look at all. It's just me waiting until it comes out.
Springer's not back yet. Or even expected back yet. Alvarez has got to be in the lineup. And if he is, I absolutely love the guy today. Immense power, great eye. DeSclafani has been tortured by lefties throughout the entirety of his career and this season. On the year, Josh, he's allowing 2.5 home runs per 9, a 292 ISO, 35% ground balls, and 48% hard contact. That won't play well here for him at the humid Great American. I really like Alvarez. I'll throw Brantley and Reddick into the mix too, to be honest with you. I actually don't mind Houston here at all.
I don't think I'll get as much as I would have liked. They're right now, relative to salary, my 7th ranked stack. So that's usually a team where I end up right around the field on.
Yeah, fair enough. I really like Alvarez, though.
I will if he's in.
I just don't know why he wouldn't be.
Neither do I. But I'm with you there.
Yeah.
I like Josh Reddick a lot if he's leading
You
off.
know what? I do know why. NL Park. He's the DH. He's been the DH.
There you go.
But he's expected to play left field at some point during this 3-game stretch. So, yeah, I totally forgot that this was a game in Cincinnati. So that would be the answer. But if you're smart, you get this fucking guy into your lineup or into the lineup and figure it out.
Yeah. I took him day one in our home run contest, and he put one in the cheap seats. So
yeah, and day two.
I know. I wanted to take him that next day too, but I didn't. Felt like it was cheating.
Maybe Tony Kemp doesn't need to start today.
Safe bet. Safe bet. Although Tony Kemp starting at second.
Yeah, but I'm saying figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, figure it out. If Kemp can go from outfield to second, anybody could play left field. Like, come on, anyone can play left field.
Time to talk about my favorite pitcher on the slate. Braves and Mets, 4.2 run implied total for the Braves, 4-3 for the Mets, 52% chance to win for New York. Julio Teheran going for Atlanta, Jake DeGrom going for the Mets. 21% ownership for DeGrom on Yahoo, 5 on FanDuel, 15 on DK. He's projected to be owned less than Justin Verlander on DraftKings today. I think that Jake DeGrom is the best pitching option on the slate. What do you say?
The Braves are so good, man.
They are.
The Braves are so good.
They are.
I have some concerns with it, honestly. I mean, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball, hands down, no question. I don't deny that. But man, it's a matchup that concerns me a little bit. I'd be lying if I said it didn't. And I think 10-3 against the Braves is a pretty appropriate price tag for DeGrom.
I don't disagree. Here's my question for you. Would you rather have Jake DeGrom or Justin Verlander? Given their prices.
Woodruff. I'd rather have Brandon Woodruff.
Okay.
Look, I know where you're going with it. I understand what you're saying.
I agree with you, by the way.
Right, but I just to kind of make
actually, no,
point,
I don't. But keep going.
You don't have to. I think, dude, Brandon Woodruff stuff is so nasty. I really love this guy, and I wouldn't blame you for wanting to go DeGrom over Woodruff, but he's $1,000 cheaper on DraftKings. On FanDuel, Woodruff or Verlander's 62, DeGrom's 48. Big difference there. And Woodruff's 45. Give me DeGrom there. I think that's close enough. But what are they at on FanDuel? DeGrom 10-4, Woodruff 9-3. Like, I'm perfectly fine with Woodruff on one pitcher sites. I think he's got double-digit strikeout upside here. But then you also have Jack Flaherty, whose stuff against righties is really good. He struggled mightily against lefties. There aren't going to be any in the lineup today. So I just think in that 8 and 9K range, there are some quality options to where I don't feel like I need to force in a DeGrom or Verlander. But if it's DeGrom or Verlander, it's definitely going to be DeGrom for me. I'll take the near 2K savings on him any day of the week because he's a great pitcher.
Okay. Yeah, I can't get away from it. I love the low implied total. I love the fact that he's priced like normally. It's not 10-3 is nothing. If we're going to have 3 guys ahead of him, including Cole Hamels and Kershaw and Verlander at 11-9. I just want to take talent when I think that it's underpriced for what their talent is. I understand Braves are on the opposite side.
Yeah, I totally understand that. We've agreed on that ever since we started doing these shows. Like, you exploit the gap in talent and price tag.
Yeah.
But I also,
it's scary.
Yeah, it is. They not only are they good, and I hate to say this, but it feels like every day I look at the Braves score, they have 12 runs.
They feel like they've been mashing quite a bit. Let me pull them up here on Fangraphs, just see what
While
they're
you
doing.
do that, though, I'll just point out, while you're referring to the talent here, I think Woodruff is too talented and too good in this specific matchup for his price. Like, if Woodruff was 10K today, I wouldn't be shocked at all, and I'd actually agree with it.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to sneeze, I think, so I might have to just dive out of the screen for a second.
Just shoot it all over the camera.
Is this still a baseball stream? Braves 5.45 runs per game so far this season. Even if you use base runs, it's 5.49. So it's not just sequencing or anything. They've just been nuking the ball.
Off to a slow start.
Yeah.
They got off to a real slow start. So
Austin Riley coming up, certainly helping. Just solidify a lineup. I mean, if you're able to drop Ozzy Albies down to 8, it's a really good team, man. It's a really good team.
you know what else helps? The fact that Dansby Swanson is finally developing into a really good hitter, and Josh Donaldson has been resurrected from the grave.
Yeah, they must have really good like HGH and stuff in Atlanta.
Heroin, yeah.
Heroin, yeah.
No, that would deplete your muscle mass. Wouldn't work.
No, get the good stuff, the cream, the clear, whatever you need.
Yeah.
Rub it all over your body. Dive right in. I'm going to have a lot of Jake DeGrom, certainly more than 15% on DK is my summary. I won't have the Braves. I will have Mets bats.
You like Mets bats here against Tirem?
At the top, yeah. The McNeil, Cano, Conforto area. Pete Alonso kind of always just because. But I expect to have Mets more than I have probably anything in this game. Well, not more than DeGrom, but I guess that's the same thing. I'm just going to have a lot of Mets.
Julio Tirem's price tag on DraftKings is outrageous.
Yeah, I don't think I want to spend $9,500 for him when your boy Woodruff is sitting there at 93.
Yeah, no, thank you, sir. I will go elsewhere.
Yeah.
I understand the Mets bats, though. I do. Tirem has been better against lefties, though. He has.
Sure.
We'll get into why on a show when we don't have a ton of more other games to get to, but you're still getting pretty good prices on a lot of these guys. And Robinson Cano, while not good, is really, really cheap. The most you're paying is like 46 for Conforto. Alonso's up there, but it's not hard to get these Mets in against Tirem. And my guess is they'll be super cheap or super low owned.
The ones that I wanted aren't 9%. Well, it's not that they're high owned. McNeil at 9, Cano 14, Conforto at 10. So they are getting a little bit of love. They're higher than average right now.
Yeah, I thought they'd be more around 6 or 7 total.
It's not making you change your decisions because there's not really any like real volume. It's not the 20s. It's not some Edwin Jackson matchup.
Right, of course.
But it's not just they're not being ignored. That's for
sure. They're not cheap enough to have that super high ownership.
No,
but they're
just
not
Cano at 3,100.
Except Cano, right? But as a team, I mean,
yeah.
But they're not expensive enough to be totally contrarian.
Nope. Yeah, they're kind of in a weird spot. And it's not a great game. Like, the Mets run total is low. It's a pitcher's park. Teheran is, well, I don't know what he is at this point. An enigma, I guess. Never know what he's going to do.
Who's that?
Teheran. Like, he's great one day. He's awful the next.
Yeah, it's weird with him. I don't even know if he's enigmatic as much as he's just a league average pitcher who's overpriced.
How long has he been up? 2011, really?
Oh, yeah, he's been around.
I don't. Well, I mean, actually, 2013. He made spot starts.
He had a couple really good seasons, from an ERA standpoint. He had a few really strong seasons.
I mean, his first 4 years, 2.5 wins above replacement, 3.5, 1.5, 3. Like, that's a really nice stretch. That's a nice little career.
Mm-hmm. And then lefties just started brutalizing him. I think SunTrust Park had something to do with it, but yeah, it was ugly.
Anything else in this game?
No, I think we're good.
Perfect time for everybody to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you can find out when we go live every single day. Coming up later today, 2:30 p.m., Ben Rasa, Tim Frank talking the Travelers. Getting a little PGA show in there. Deeper dive from 4:45 to 6 p.m. today. 3-man band, Laffy, Adam, the boss man himself, Alex Baker. Live before lock tonight, 6 to 7. Chris Baggs, Jake Hari taking you all the way up until 7:05. All that stuff. Hit the like button, though. Helps us out a ton. Cubs and White Sox. 5.1 run implied total for the Cubbies. 3.4 for the White Sox. It's Cole Hamels going for Chicago Cubs. Ivan Nova going for Chicago White Sox. Certainly not playing Ivan Nova today. Let's talk about Cole Hamels being chalky. 29% ownership on Yahoo, 24% on FanDuel, which I assume is the highest. Certainly is. 18% on DraftKings. So Hamels is 8,600 on FanDuel. I get why he's being owned like that. What do you think about 18% ownership on the 10-5 Cole Hamels on DraftKings?
I'll tell you what, I nailed these run totals in the money line.
Nice.
because we didn't have anything in. Well, I had 5-3 and 3-5. We're at 5-2 for the Cubs and 3-4 for the White Sox. The Hamels is a 225 favorite, minus 225 at home. There's no wind blowing out. Temperatures are favorable really, they're just pretty neutral temperatures. I I would love Cole Hamels if I didn't have to pay the same price or more than DeGrom, 1,200 more than Woodruff,
Yep.
1,800 more than Flaherty against Miami. Like, to me, that's pretty untenable. I don't see how you can get there and make sense of it. Now, people might argue, well, yeah, look at that start against the Rockies. Hell, I played him in that start against the Rockies. But guess what? It was a 4-game day slate with garbage pitching. Against St. Louis, 8 scoreless 10K innings. He's been really good recently, but I can't. It's so hard for me to justify paying that much for Hamels, albeit a good matchup. How do you get there when we know there's a better overall pitcher in DeGrom where he's priced? And I know I keep going back to Woodruff, but I just think when you look at Hamels' price and when you look at the price of Kershaw and Julio Turan, it just seems like Woodruff and Flaherty are underpriced in their respective matchups.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Different slate, and you play him a lot, sort of like Corbin yesterday. But I'd rather have Verlander. I'd rather have DeGrom. And that doesn't even get into the fact that I'd rather have Clayton Kershaw and I'd rather have Brandon Woodruff. Doesn't mean that Cole Hamels isn't in a good spot. It doesn't mean that Cole Hamels doesn't look like a really good pitcher for today. It just means that he's not as good as the other options for today's slate. And that's sort of what matters. So I would expect Cole Hamels to be my biggest fade.
Let me ask you this, though.
Well, actually, yeah, I would expect Cole Hamels to be my biggest fade. Because I know that I won't get to him.
Let me ask you this. You know who's been very similar and from a production standpoint this season? Swinging strike rate, called plus swinging strike rate, K rate. They're near identical against lefties and righties. It's Cole Hamels and Clayton Kershaw. They've been very, very similar on a lot of levels.
That makes sense.
As two aging lefties that have kind of figured out a way to still be relevant.
Yeah.
I will say this much. If I was going Kershaw or Hamels, I would take the savings on Hamels. But that's not saying a lot because I don't see myself getting up to Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah, I don't expect to have much Kershaw either. It's a half of a coin flip for me between the two, but I think both of them just completely fall off.
Yeah, I obviously like the Cubs bats here.
Yeah, they don't look so shabby. Second ranked stack for me on DK, or second on FanDuel as well. A little bit further down on Yahoo where they're kind of expensive. There's really not a Cubs bat that I don't want all that much of unless it is Victor Caratini.
Right.
Sign me up for all the Kyle Schwarber. Sign me up for Bryant, Rizzo, Baez. I can't get enough of those guys.
Nope. Nova's been a home run machine this year. I expect that to continue today.
Same. I would say Chris Bryant, probably my favorite. Actually, Javi Baez. Baez is probably my favorite bat here.
Okay. I like Schwarber a lot, just batting from the left side, but I'd be happy with any of them.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why I even said that like that. Schwarber by a mile and then Baez.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was looking at the left-handed Hamels and appropriating that to Schwarber, and I was like, lefty, it's Schwarber.
Right.
No, he gets a date with Ivan Nova, the right-hander. Yeah, it's Schwarber by a country mile.
Yeah, we agree.
Any White Sox bats against Cole Hamels, because I assume that I get some Tim Anderson, Jose Abreu.
Yeah, hey, Cole Hamels is still liable to give up some solo shots, but he's become so much better at holding runners than he was in the past, which used to be a major flaw. And he hasn't been giving up a ton of pop this year. Now, if you're going to go to anyone, it should be righties. I really rarely have interest in stacking against him. It's very rare. Even in Colorado, I didn't have much interest, but getting a one-off to, like you said, an Abreu, or who was the other one we went with?
Tim Anderson.
From the right side of the plate. Yeah, I have no issues with that. But, Eloy Jimenez is cheap. but
Yeah.
you're just hoping they get that solo shot.
Yeah, they're really easy to get to. Let me see where they're at as
Yeah.
a team for me. They're coming in 12th for me on DK. So because of Hamels' ownership, there's no ownership going to the White Sox. I'll have
Yep.
3 or 4 times the field.
Sensible.
Yeah, it's not an exciting spot, but I'm happy to take righty power bats against a chalky lefty pitcher.
Sure.
Really it. Got some offense coming up in this one. Rangers and Indians, 5-run implied total for the Rangers, 55. Yeah, 55. 5.5 for the Indians, 54% chance to win for Cleveland. Adrian Sampson going for Texas. Zach Plesac going for the Indians. No ownership going to any of these pitchers. I'd be fine having some Plesac on Yahoo. I don't really need a ton of 7,800 Plesac on FanDuel or 79 on DK, but for 31 on Yahoo, I think that's probably the spot to play him, and I am certainly not playing Adrian Sampson.
No interest in Sampson. I think it's worth considering what the lineup will look like for Texas. We already know Pence hit the injured list. We already know that Joey Gallo is still out until further notice, and Nomar Mazara could rejoin the team today. But if he doesn't, that's 3 of your best hitters that are sidelined now.
Yep.
So they can still run some lefties out there, but that's definitely a more watered down lineup than we've seen in some time.
It is not good. Using Steamer projections and the weighted runs created plus, their lineup projects for an 86 WRC plus. That is
not great.
Kind of low.
Yeah, it's very low. That would rank bottom 5 in the league if that was their active roster.
Indians right now, the chalk stack on what looks like all 3 sites.
Man, they continue eating up a ton of ownership each night.
Yeah, and they are eating up quite a bit of it here. You know, we've got Lindor and Kipnis both in the 20s on FanDuel. Ramirez at 33 on Yahoo. 3 guys in double digits on DraftKings. They're chalky straight across the board, but that's what the highest implied total on the slate and Adrian Sampson will do for you. Pretty easy to know that you want to stack the Indians when you've got that kind of run total and that kind of garbage on the hill.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously skeptical of Adrian Sampson. Although his only bad start dating back to the 12th of May came against the Red Sox in Boston. So I don't really know. Is Adrian Sampson as bad as he's made out to be?
What do you want to do with this Indians chalk? Do you follow it, or are you massively under the field here?
On a 15-game slate, I don't think it's a crazy idea to get away from it a little bit. Look, I have no interest in Adrian Sampson, obviously. Yeah. And even if I did, it's not an Indians team that strikes out. But the thing that I find interesting is that Sampson has been very good against lefties this year. Like, actually, pull up his numbers. Look at what he's done against lefties. I'm not saying it's sustainable, but he's been markedly better against opposite-handed hitters. So when you look at, what is this guy throwing? What is the reason for this? Because he's a 3-pitch pitcher. He has a changeup against lefties that he's been using almost 25% of the time. And I think that's helped him be a lot better against them. It's not even getting a lot of missed bats, but it is getting a good amount of ground balls and just hasn't been hit for any power. So do I think that lasts? Probably not. He doesn't get enough whiffs on it for it to be like significantly better than it should be. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Cleveland disappoints today either.
Cleveland Indians are my number 1 stack across all 3 sites.
I figured they would be. I mean, they're going to be very popular today. So
they are. They are indeed.
I haven't run any crunch. I'm just going off of what I've seen from Adrian Sampson and how he's performed. He gives up a lot of fly balls, but he hasn't allowed a lot of hard contact. So, well, actually, yes, he has. Yeah, he has.
The interesting part about the Indians being chalky is that it's coming in bunches. It's Lindor, well, as it should. It's Lindor, it's Kipnis, it's Jose Ramirez. But, like, Carlos Santana is at 8% because he's 5K. Tyler Naquin is at 1% if he's in the lineup. He's 3,500 on DraftKings. I think it's really easy to stack the Indians and still have a different construction, even though they're chalky.
Sure.
And I expect to be pretty massively over the field on a lot of these guys that are getting no ownership and just sort of with the field or slightly under on the Lindor, Kipnis, Ramirez trio. So I think that I'll have a very different concentration of Indians than most.
No, and I think that's a reasonable point. I'll just say this: look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Over his last 6 starts, Sampson has a 417 xFIP, which I think is about what type of pitcher he is. Comp him to a right-handed Daniel Norris in terms of run prevention, like we talked about earlier. His strand rate is higher than it should be. You'll probably see some regression, but 302 BABIP. Nothing that jumps out at me as like, wow, he's been really lucky, right? 11.5% swinging strike rate. Contact rate 78%. Like, he just right now to me is profiling as a okay pitcher that isn't good and isn't terrible. That's why I say I could see the Indians disappointing.
I just scrolled through my phone a little bit. And by the way, it would not shock me if the Indians disappoint, since Oscar Mercado hits second for this team and in the entire lineup projects to be below average. I just hit that video of me eating shit again.
That is a good video.
Favorite bat in this entire game? Lindor?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's always going to be Lindor.
Yeah, okay.
Again, it's not that I don't like Cleveland bats. It's just if they're the chalkiest team, I don't think it's a crazy idea to get away from them a little bit. But like you said, you can do different things with this Cleveland team on the guys that are more expensive or batting towards the bottom of the order. There's ways to mix it up. It is Globe Life Park, so that's always going to work. It's 92 degrees at first pitch. I would never try and talk anybody off any hitters from this game.
Fair enough. I'm apparently wrong because Sampson only allowed 2 home runs in 32 innings in Arlington, so he'll never be able to do that again. Shout out to Sean V for bringing the garbage once again.
Like I said, I think he's a average talent, but when you're allowing 49 or 46% hard contact to lefties, 44% to righties, you're getting only 30 or sub 40% ground balls, and you have an xFIP that's, approaching 5 on the season. Now, he's been better recently. That's why I'm trying to find a balance here. He's going to allow home runs at Globe Life. I don't think Sampson is the same gas can I did earlier this season.
That's fair.
Slightly better than gas can.
To the Twins we go. Twins and Red Sox. 4.6 run implied total for the Twins. 4.9 for the Red Sox. 53% chance to win for Boston. Michael Pineda going for Minnesota. David Price going for Boston. No ownership going to Pineda. No ownership going to David Price, which I think is very weird in one spot. He's $37 on Yahoo. Kind of stands out to me. I think he's pretty clearly the best option below the $40 range. I'm surprised that he's not getting any love. I'm surprised that more is going to some other guys. But ultimately, I don't really have much interest in either pitcher here. It's a scary spot. There is a lot of power and a lot of hitting talent here.
Does it not feel like the Twins have a 6+ run total every night?
Yeah, it really does. It really does.
Obviously not tonight against David Price,
right.
But it's really crazy how high their run total. I mean, it's at 4.6, but it opened at 5.2 against David Price, Josh.
It's the Twins have just been, I mean, they're
favored here against David Price, and Pineda's on the mound.
Dude, the lowest.
Oh, no, they're not. Sorry.
The lowest projected ISO for everybody in the Twins lineup today is 166.
Yeah. They've got power, man.
They're on the season 5.87 runs per game. That's the number one scoring offense in baseball. If you look at just their base runs performance, so trying to take out, sequencing, just trying to give raw projection, 5.87. They're almost a half run ahead of the Braves in second. They've been the best offense by a mile this year.
You know what also doesn't hurt? that when he's in the lineup, Byron Buxton's hit 33 extra base hits out of the 9-hole.
How many?
He has 33 extra base hits. Dude, Buxton has, check this out, 21 doubles, 3 triples, and 9 home runs out of the 9 spot. And get this, ready? This will blow your mind.
Is he finally becoming himself?
He is. This is going to blow your. I'm serious. You won't believe this when I tell you. Because I actually, when I was on Awesemo Radio on Sirius XM last month, I was looking up guys that lead the league in this category and this. I'm like, wait, Byron Buxton's tied with Ryan Healy for the lead in doubles. So he has an extra base hit per every 6.9 at bats this season.
Looking at it now, 120 weighted runs created plus. Fantastic fielder. He's becoming what the Twins wanted him to be.
Less than 7 at bats per extra base hit. I know it's a silly stat to look at it from that perspective. But what I'm saying is he's frequently getting on base and doing it with doubles and homers. It's really incredible what he's done. And he only has 200. Yeah. Buxton's been really good.
Kudos to Byron Buxton. I'm happy. I wanted him to be good from the beginning. I like when guys that I follow as prospects turn out to be quality. It makes it fun.
Coming full circle here, he's their 9-hole hitter.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
He's batting out of the 9 spot. He's 3rd in doubles in baseball. You know who's tied with him? Teammate Jorge Polanco. So they're just putting a ton of guys on base and getting a lot of runs and just manufacturing runs with any possible way they can. It's pretty incredible.
I was going to guess Stan Musial, but close.
Yes. Very close.
Oh, man.
And you know Eddie Rosario has 19 homers already?
He's going to get a 20th today.
Eddie Rosario.
Dude's just mashing. Everybody's mashing for this damn team. I love Nelson Cruz here. Obviously, lefty-righty matchup. No ownership. 2%. I love him as a one-off. I'm not really targeting the Twins here all that much. They're really expensive. I don't really feel like today is the Twins spot. I'm curious if you like the Red Sox at all here against Pineda.
Quick point on Twins bats. If they were cheaper, I'd have interest. I have enough respect for David Price where I don't think I need to sacrifice pitching talent to pay up for Minnesota against a good pitcher. But Boston against Pineda, absolutely I have interest. And as a matter of fact, I think, what is their total at? I believe it was lower than I expected it to be.
I have 4.9 right now.
Okay, I have 5, 4. Okay, doesn't matter. 4.95. I think it should be higher than that. And even if it isn't, it doesn't really matter to me because Pineda is the type of guy that can unravel and not be able to put the pieces back together. He is allowing a lot of home runs to right-handed hitting, more than 2 per 9. This is a righty stacked lineup.
Yeah.
What's the ownership looking like on the Red Sox? Because if this is a team that isn't going to be that popular,
only Mookie and JD.
Yeah, it's hard for me not to really like guys like Mookie, JD, Bogarts. Hell, I'll throw Devers in there. They're going to cost you, but this is one of those spots where if they hit 5 home runs in the first 4 innings, no one would be shocked.
They're my 5th favorite stack, dollar for dollar. Betts and JD are around 10% ownership. Everybody else is at 2 or 3. So I'm digging the Boston bats here today.
Yep. And to be fair to Pineda, since returning from injury, he has looked strong, but I don't buy into him not being homer prone whatsoever. He's faced Seattle and Detroit over his last 2.
Favorite bat in this entire game? Is it Mookie and JD in some combo, or would you rather have Cruz against Price?
Well, I'll give you one from each team.
Okay.
It would Cruz against Price, but JD over Mookie just because of the raw power here.
Sure.
I think your upside's a bit higher against the guy whose biggest flaw is allowing home runs.
Perfect. We're on the same page here. So let's do it. Keep moving. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 to go. Oh, okay.
There's a couple here that we're not going to spend much time on at all.
That's very true. Cardinals and Marlins. This will probably be one of them. 4.8 run implied total for the Cards. 3.3 for the Marlins. 66% chance to win for St. Louis. Jack Flaherty going for the Cardinals. Jordan Yamamoto going for the Marlins. No ownership going to Yamamoto. However, Jack Flaherty, 34% ownership on Yahoo, 23 on FanDuel, 32 on DraftKings. Right now, we are talking about the chalk pitcher on the slate, and he absolutely should be.
I was going to say, it is 100% deserved.
Yep. That price is insane. The matchup is perfect. I don't know what else to say other than I completely agree with what the public is doing.
Yep. Jack Flaherty against lefties this season is allowing a 239 ISO, 229 home runs per 9 with a 504 xFIP. All right. Ton of hard contact, not a lot of ground balls. Yeah. What about righties? Because he's going to face 7 or 8 of them today.
Yep.
32% K rate. His K rate against lefties, by the way, is 20%. Massive disparity there. 131 ISO, less than a home run per 9, and a 307 xFIP with very little hard contact. Jack Flaherty's biggest problem this year has clearly been lefties. They have plagued him in a lot of spots where he would have had strong performances that became undone due to facing a slew of lefties. This is not the matchup. Look, can he get blown up? Sure, it's baseball. If you wanted to get away from him because he's chalk, fine, whatever. But Jack Flaherty's still a very good pitcher, and you literally could not dream up a better matchup. You couldn't think of a better matchup for Jack Flaherty.
You don't think he's scared of JT Riddle in the 6 hole?
Right, exactly. Like, you might want to argue, oh, well, the Tigers are probably a better matchup because they strike out more. Well, the Marlins strike out at a top 10 clip, the 9th highest rate against righties, but they also rank last in WOBA, ISO, and WRC+. They also rank last, this is great, in speed rating. So they have no speed on the base paths either, and they have a 7% walk rate. There isn't a single redeeming quality about this Marlins team against right-handed pitching. Not one, Josh.
There's not a single redeeming quality about this Marlins lineup against any pitching. I don't care if somebody's kicking the ball from the mound.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. They're just flat out god awful. The one redeeming quality against lefties, which I was referring to, they strike out a lot less. But that's it.
Jack Flaherty should be the first pitcher you're entering into every single cash lineup.
Correct.
It's just play him everywhere. There's no downside to Jack Flaherty today.
You know what? Let me say this. 34% ownership on 2 pitcher sites is too low on Flaherty at this price.
I don't disagree.
Meaning, if I ended up getting 60% Flaherty, I wouldn't be shocked by it.
I completely agree.
He's going to get blown up tonight.
He probably will if this is what we're talking about.
And we're going to get a YouTube comment that says we are shills for recommending a really good right-hander against the Marlins, who then gets blown up.
But no one will go to lineup study to look up that I played 95% of them and took the beating myself.
We don't play the players that we talk about.
No, I play them too much.
I forget who it was. It was a righty against the Marlins.
It was DeGrom.
DeGrom. Yeah, it was DeGrom. And it's like, you assholes told me to play DeGrom against Miami. First of all, you didn't need anybody to tell you to play DeGrom against Miami in Miami. What do you give up, 7 runs?
If someone says to not play Jake DeGrom against the Marlins, you should turn that shit right off.
Right.
I'd be like, cool, there's the show I don't need to listen to anymore.
And you know what he would like? Hey, oh, asshole, 6 runs.
Yeah.
And then 15 minutes later, now they've got 12. Later, and the game's over. 15 runs for the Marlins. You guys are the worst. It's like, all right, pal, you know what? You're right. Big blind spot in the process.
Yeah, we'll change it up. We'll come in here and say that we shouldn't take Trevor Story against lefties and cores.
Yep, and stack the Marlins against Flaherty.
Yep.
That's why Alex, it's funny because Alex now is just like, all right, here's my daily disclaimer. Play the Marlins so we have the sound clip.
Yep.
Just in case it happens.
Yep. Yeah, because look, there's 162 games. I don't know, 20 of them each season or every year. Like the Marlins are probably going to put up 8, 9, 10 runs.
Josh, I said the exact same thing on the deeper dive yesterday when it referred to Miles Michaelis. There will be times where they have a decent game, and they did last time against Michaelis.
Yep.
But more times than not, and a lot more times than not, the Marlins are going to suck. And they sucked again last night against Miles Michaelis.
Yep, exactly. That's why you probably shouldn't pay attention to that most recent start.
Correct.
Man.
Get it all out, baby.
What do you want to do here with Cards bats against Jordan Yamamoto here? Any interest? Any interest in grabbing any doubles, any bunt doubles from Matt Carpenter?
That was such a thing of beauty.
It should happen every day.
I know. I tweeted, this is a thing of beauty and something that's that should be exploited far more.
It's what's the term? It's a relic of a different time where people think the unwritten rules of baseball mean you shouldn't do that. That's why you don't see it more.
Bullshit. If you're going to shift against the guy and take away 90% of space in the outfield, then look, you put the ball in play no matter which way you can. There's no unwritten rule. There's none of that.
No, crap. There are, but I'm saying there shouldn't be. I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's why it doesn't happen.
That's what I mean. There are, but yes, there should not be. Yamamoto's first start was awesome, and it was against St. Louis. This is kind of one of those spots where I don't know enough about Yamamoto yet to get real heavy on one side or the other. It's also a 15-game slate, but he only got 7% swinging strikes in that initial start, and it's looking like he got really, really lucky. So if you were asking me one or the other, I'd go St. Louis bats, but I don't imagine I'll be super high on either.
I agree. I like Carpenter. I like the top 4 for the Cardinals.
Carpenter's really cheap on DraftKings.
Yeah, and if he's ready to just drop little bunts into left field, let the pitcher field it.
You know what? Let me go back on that for a moment. I didn't see some of these salaries.
Goldschmidt, you mean $3,800 Paul Goldschmidt?
Yeah, exactly. Goldschmidt 38, Carpenter 38, DeYoung 44.
For a shortstop is fantastic.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
Yeah,
it's just that's enough to put me on St. Louis because, like I said, I think Yamamoto's certainly got pretty lucky in that first start.
I'll have a little bit of the Cardinals. It's mostly concentrated at the top. They're more likely to be the 3-man that goes with a 5-man than anything else. But those first 4, plus Molina to an extent, since he's a catcher, that's where I have my eye.
Yep, I'm with you.
And play Jack Flaherty everywhere as much as you'd like. Diamondbacks and Rockies, 5.2 run implied total for the D-backs, 4-4 for the Rockies, 57% chance to win. For Arizona, Merrill Kelly going for the D-backs, Antonio Senzatella going for the Rockies.
Pass.
No ownership going to any of these pitchers. I think that Merrill Kelly is probably getting a little bit of disrespect here with no ownership, but at the same time, it's not like I'm going to be trying to get a lot. He's 8K, and I'd rather have Pat Corbin at 82.
Mm-hmm. Or Flaherty at 87.
Yep. But I don't mind Merrill Kelly here. He probably looks decent on like some sort of 9 o'clock slate or whatever with the Express or something.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because I don't think that he's bad. He's just, when there's 30 starting pitchers going and he's the 15th best one, you tend to not get a lot of volume.
No, that's probably the best way to put it. And the Rockies outside of Coors Field are a below average team. So I don't think it's crazy, but that would I don't even have anything to add on that.
Okay. Bats. Little bit of love coming to some Diamondbacks bats on FanDuel. Dude, my boy is 5,500 on DraftKings today.
Damn.
I love him. But here, I don't know. Lefties for the Rockies kind of look appealing. Charlie Blackmon, David Dahl, Murphy. I just don't really get the sense that I'm going to have a ton of either one of these teams. What do you want to do here? The total's massive for Arizona, but they're not really like an easy team to stack. What do you want to do here?
They're not particularly cheap either.
No.
If I'm going anywhere, it would be Arizona, but I mean, dude, Ketel Marte and Escobar are super expensive. Jarrod Dyson is super expensive.
Outfield in 3 of the first 4 spots. Marte at second, just by dual eligibility. It's a tough spot. I really don't get the sense that I'm going to have much of anything here.
No, like if I'm going to pay a price like this, just give me the Red Sox. That's kind of what it comes down to. They're very similarly priced overall.
Yeah.
I'd take the Red Sox against Pineda. They're just a better team.
Yeah, I would want the Red Sox by any reasonable metric.
Yep.
I would imagine I have no Diamondbacks. And I would imagine that I basically have no Rockies bats. Outside of probably Blackman, Story, or Arenado, but it's not going to be coming in stacks.
And really, the only nice thing about this is on a 15-game slate, Senzatella has the lowest swinging strike rate of any pitcher. His called plus swinging strike rate is wildly, wildly low. It's 22%. It's the lowest on the slate, below Anderson, below Gabriel Yanoa, below Ivan Nova. It's really bad. So if there's one thing we know, he does get ground balls, but everything gets put in play. So if that's the case, I never hate stacks against guys that are always going to put the ball in the field, but that's about it.
All righty. Keep it moving here. 4 to go. That's not where I type. There we go. A's and Orioles. 5.3 run implied total for the A's. 3.7 for the O's. 67% chance to win for Oakland. Brett Anderson going for the A's. Gabriel Yanoa going for the Orioles. 10% ownership going to Brett Anderson. I guess he's grading out as an interesting paydown option. I am not playing either one of these pitchers. What do you want to do with Brett Anderson here against these terrible, terrible Baltimore Orioles?
Nothing.
Okay.
You know why? Because I actually don't think the Orioles are as terrible against lefties. And while they're not good, it's not like a spot where I will just play any pitcher against them. Now, can you always make an argument for a cheap pitcher? Sure, but Anderson's not. You're not getting him at Homer Bailey prices. So I don't know. I'm just really not that enthusiastic about it. The Orioles are what, 21st in ISO. The numbers across the board aren't very good. There are a lot of strikeouts here, but is Brett Anderson the guy to get that done? Probably not. I'd probably just rather play like Kikuchi, even though he's going to have ownership. But look, I don't think Anderson's cheap enough to really get there. Plus, you can play plenty of pitchers today that aren't 10K. You don't have to go like a 10K guy and a 6K guy. You can go a 9 and an 8, an 8 and a 7, Do you have Anderson interest?
No, none at all. I'll have 0.
Okay.
I do like the top of the Oakland lineup, though. Semien, Chapman, Olsen, Chris Davis. The place I'm looking.
Yeah, no issues with that at all. Big favorites, high total. Makes sense.
But I don't have much interest in this game, really, in general. I don't, even though, I know it was bad. I don't really like getting a lot of offense in Oakland. Feels similar to games in San Francisco. It's really, look, when you're trying to win a GPP, you need home runs. It's just, you're not getting there on singles and doubles unless you get 4 of them with a stolen base and stuff. Right. Home runs rule the roost, and it's harder to hit them here.
And I'll give credit where credit's due. Anderson's done a very good job of limiting power. Very good job of it.
So I like a couple of these bats. Chris Davis is always in play to me. I don't care what park he's in. He's going to hit it out of there. Same for Chapman and Olsen. These guys have game-changing power, but it's a really difficult spot to want to get a bunch of home runs.
Anderson allowed 3 home runs in a start back in mid-May. Aside from that, he hasn't allowed more than 1 home run in a start all season long. So he does do a good job of keeping the ball in the yard. And as you pointed out, at O.co, he's allowed 3 home runs in 31 and 2/3 innings. It's a very tough place to hit home runs, but he's also striking out like 5 batters per 9.
Yeah. And I don't have any interest in Baltimore bats, not in this park.
No, neither do I.
Keeping it moving. Dodgers and Giants. 4.7 run implied total for the Dodgers, 2.9 for the Giants. 71% chance to win for Clayton Kershaw.
Shit.
Kershaw. Thanks, Clay Davis. Clayton Kershaw versus Sean Anderson today. Kershaw, $56 on Yahoo, 10-7 FanDuel, 11-2 on DK. Picking up a little love in the ownership department. It's clearly a great spot because the Giants' offense is not very good, but I can't take Clayton Kershaw over Justin Verlander, and I can't take him over Jake DeGrom. And at that point in time, I'm probably just out.
We kind of talked about this earlier in the show, right? Clayton Kershaw and Cole Hamels have been very similar pitchers this season. Uh, hell, Hamels has arguably had a higher ceiling, but it, I'd okay. So San Francisco is a bad team against lefties. What's their K rate at? What's their active roster K rate at against lefties? Let's see here. It is 24%. They have the second lowest WRC plus. I mean, they're a bad team against lefties. They're really bad. And their K rate is 11th highest in the league. The White Sox against lefties, look at that. Their K rate's only 14th highest, Josh. Maybe because Moncada
lower than I would have expected.
No, Moncada's still on the act. Is he day to day or is he on the injured list? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Probably now that I look at it, would lean Kershaw here over like a Hamels, but that doesn't mean anything because they're still well behind like 4 other pitchers.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. If I have shares of Clayton Kershaw, I'm cool with it, but I know that I'm not going to have 17% like DK. I don't have an aversion to it. If you're a big fan of Clayton Kershaw, right. Facing the Giants is a great spot. There are just pitchers that are priced better, in my opinion.
I agree. And for hitting purposes, like I have no issues with the Dodgers against Sean Anderson. Not sure how much I'm going to get to, though. Although Jock is really cheap.
So I'm trying to I don't know what to do with these Dodgers. I mean, lefty power plays so well in LA.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting a lot of lefties against the righty and Anderson, but it's not as if the Dodgers are cheap in any way outside of Jock.
Right, that's the thing.
Or you're getting guys that aren't very good, like Matt Beattie or something. So, yeah, it's Jock as a one-off who's getting no ownership whatsoever. 2% on DK, 3 on FanDuel. I'll certainly be over that number, but I don't anticipate stacking up the Dodgers, and I certainly don't anticipate stacking up the Giants.
Me neither. This is one of those games where I said we wouldn't spend much time on.
Yep, and we're gone. Mariners, 2 to go. Taking on the Royals, 4-6 implied total for the Mariners, 4.4 for the Royals, 53% chance to win for Seattle. Yusei Kikuchi going for the Mariners, Homer Bailey going for the Royals. No ownership going to Homer Bailey, where he's the flat minimum on Yahoo and in the mid-6s on FanDuel and DK. However, there's some ownership going to Yusei Kikuchi on DraftKings, $5,300, 27% expected ownership. He's the second most owned pitcher on the slate. And honestly, I didn't expect to see that ownership. I wrote Spotlight Pitchers today, and I was like, you know what? I really like Yusei Kikuchi at the bottom at 5,300. Turns out he's very, very, very popular, and I get it. Royals offense, their active roster against lefties this season is really putrid, somewhere in the mid-80s in weighted runs created plus. Kikuchi's got decent stuff. He just doesn't really go that deep into games, so I think he's the perfect paydown option on DK. I don't want to play him on a one-pitcher site on FanDuel, and he's $42 on Yahoo, which is the 8th highest guy on the slate. I think Yusei Kikuchi looks great. I understand why he's 27% on DK. I'd be happy to go there.
Yeah, not only did you say Kikuchi, but so did 30% of the field.
I didn't know that I was making jokes through your body.
Oh, God. When you said that, I thought you were actually telling me that I said Kikuchi earlier. And then I remembered that's his name. He's really, really popular because he's dirt cheap. But he's also been pretty terrible. So I think you have to just consider him here. But when I saw his ownership, there's no question that I backed off a little bit. Like just the interest I had in him. It's a lot on a guy who you're really only playing because he's that cheap. And I think we like to play these really dirt cheap pitchers, but usually when not a lot of people are on them, like a lot of times they're just completely overlooked, like Tanner Anderson, or, and no one played him, and you're getting 5 or 6 strong innings from him. Kikuchi is not that good. No. He's not terrible, but he doesn't miss bats. And if 30% of the field's going to be on him, I think it's a tough spot. But you're like, okay, did you run crunches on him?
I have not.
Okay. What do you think you'll end up with?
Kikuchi?
Yeah. The field?
Somewhere in the 20s.
So you think you'll be close, pretty much matching the field here?
Yeah.
Yeah, what about Homer Bailey? His price has obviously come up, but this is a really, really bad Seattle team now. The problem I have is that Homer Bailey's salary is more expensive than it was before, but the Mariners strike out a lot, and their active roster, what is it, third highest K rate right now? There's a lot of red flags if you're the Mariners, and Homer Bailey has actually not been that bad against lefties. And my guess is there's going to be a ton of lefties in this lineup. Is it crazy that if Brett Anderson is getting ownership, that Homer Bailey would too? He's at 0.6% ownership, basically the same price.
Yeah, I think I would rather have Mitch Keller, circling all the way back to the beginning. I can't imagine having Homer Bailey here. I'm either going to play Kikuchi or I'm not really down in this area.
That's fine. Look, here's all I'm saying. Bailey has a 23.5% K rate against lefties, which actually isn't bad at all. It's above average. His splitter's really good. Brett Anderson's going to face a lot of righties. He has a 14% K rate. So if one of these guys were going to give you 8 strikeouts, I'd rather go Bailey over Anderson. I'm not saying I'm in love with him at all, but 0.6%, I could see myself getting 5 or so percent of Bailey, which would be 5 times the field.
Yeah, it's definitely a great strikeout matchup. It's certainly a less scary matchup than it was when Edwin Encarnacion was in the center of the lineup. So there's definitely some appeal there for Bailey. I just prefer Kikuchi. Is really as easy as it is for me.
Don't forget, Mitch Haniger's still out too. So you're looking at a top of the lineup of Malik Smith and J.P. Crawford, and Tom Murphy batting 5th yesterday, Kyle Seager, D. Gordon batting 7th, Mac Williamson, and Austin Nola. It's a bad lineup, dude.
It's not good at all. Do you like any bats in this game on either side? Anybody that you want to try to grab? Whit Merrifield against the Kikuchi ownership. Soler against the Kikuchi ownership. I don't get the sense that I'm stacking this game, but I don't mind grabbing little pieces on both sides.
I mean, if Kikuchi's going to be this popular and he's given up as much power as he has, and he isn't missing bats whatsoever, and he has, I think, the 6th lowest swinging strike rate on this slate, on a 30-game slate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6th lowest. Yeah. It's lower than Ivan Nova. It's not crazy at all to me that Kansas City is in an appealing spot here. Whit Merrifield and Mondesi, unfortunately, their prices have come up quite a bit since yesterday, but this team is not egregiously overpriced at all, and it's not hard to get there. So I don't mind Kansas City if you're trying to get away from Kikuchi, who is pretty volatile.
Can't disagree there. It's a lot of ownership. Final game for us. Getting in. We're getting there. We had to get to it eventually. 3.7 run implied total for the Pods, 4-2 for the Brewers, 55% chance to win for Milwaukee. Logan Allen going for San Diego. Brandon Woodruff going for the Brewers, $45 on Yahoo, $9,300 on FanDuel, $9,300 on DK. Into the 20s in ownership on the 2 pitcher sites. The floor is yours, man. You've mentioned him for every game, and now we're finally at his game. Talk to me about Brandon Woodruff for today.
He's just a really good pitcher.
He is indeed. There are a lot of swings and misses in this Padres lineup.
He's got a 31.5%, a 30% called plus swinging strike rate, which is an important statistic.
Sure.
He's striking righties out at 29.5%. He's striking lefties out 28.5%. He's going to face a good amount of righties. The Padres have the highest K rate against righties in the league this season.
Yep.
Not only that, though, but they have a 93 WRC plus, which ranks in bottom 10th or bottom 10 in the league. Like, this is not a very good team. They have a ton of strikeouts scattered throughout their lineup. And Brandon Woodruff is just a all in all good pitcher who has allowed 8 home runs this season, only 2 of them on the road, away from the homer-friendly Miller Park. So he's allowing no power outside of Miller Park. He's he's well over a K per inning guy all in total. And the Padres strike out a ton. I don't know what there isn't to like here. If he was 10K, I'd still have plenty of interest, and that's the honest to God truth.
I don't blame you. I don't disagree. I expect to have quite a bit of him at 9,300 because that's just a price point that's really easy to fit into lineups. Do you prefer Brandon Woodruff or Jack Flaherty?
You froze on me.
Oh, you didn't hear my question?
Do you prefer Brandon Woodruff or who?
Flaherty.
I'd love to get both in a lot of these two-pitcher sites.
I completely agree.
Right? Like,
it's
I
a
think
tough
that's
one just
really
because of how bad Miami is.
Yeah, exactly. And how much San Diego strikes out. Like, I think that's a really solid pairing. Like, if you were to ask me what is your favorite pitcher pairing on this slate, it would be Woodruff and Flaherty
Sure.
for me. I'm assuming DeGrom and Flaherty for you.
You would be correct. That
Yeah,
is not
Woodruff
that is not to
hasn't
say anything bad about Woodruff or anything. It's just
No, and he hasn't had a lot of easy matchups recently. Houston, Pittsburgh twice, a K-heavy team. Philly struck out 10, almost threw a perfect game. Like, he at Cincinnati, or no, actually he didn't go against Atlanta. Look at some of the matchups he's faced though. Woodruff has had some really tough matchups, and he's produced in all but one of them.
he's good, man. He's good.
Yeah, I'm all about it tonight.
As you should be. So many strikeouts here. Projected to run out 7 of 8 non-pitcher righties in the lineup. Can't beat it, man. No matter what really happens, there's not a lot of lefties on the pods to begin with. It's a great spot for Brandon Woodruff in a fantastic pitcher's park. Hard to get away.
And Logan Allen, who is expected to pitch, bats right-handed. Not that it matters.
No, but certainly doesn't hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
Any stacks for you in this game? Brewers not getting a lot of love. Padres certainly not getting a lot of love. I don't get the sense that I'll have either team with any sort of frequency.
That's surprising to me.
Really?
Because outside of Yelich and Moustakas, this team is actually cheap. Braun.
I mean, Eric Thames is 4,600.
Yeah, sure. But Braun and Locane are 41 and 39.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that difficult of a team to get to. This Logan Allen fella, the only reason he's being brought up is so they can just eat up innings without having to use any actual decent pitching. I mean, look at his minor league numbers. First of all, steamer projection is better than I thought it would be.
Yes.
Right? But on this season, and I guess you could say he's been a little bit unlucky with that left on base rate, but I'm still not at all buying into this. Look, this is the biggest thing. He's allowing 1.25 home runs per 9 at AAA. Last year at AAA, just to show you this wasn't an anomaly, 1.3 home runs per 9.
Mm-hmm.
He's a left-handed pitcher. Ryan Braun still hits lefties well. He's 4,100 on DraftKings. Lorenzo Cain can still hit lefties well. He's 3,900. The righties in this lineup to me are fascinating. Jesus Aguilar, who could bat 5th or 6th, 3,300 on DraftKings. You could play DeGrom and Woodruff and get a 4-player, 5-player Milwaukee stack, and you might be able to do it relatively easily.
So what do you think is keeping their implied total at 4.2 runs? Why so low for the Milwaukee Brewers today?
I don't know. And there wasn't a line or totals on this game. I had them at 5.1, Josh.
I had them a lot higher too until we started this show.
Yeah, I was way off on that. The only thing I can think of is that it's going to be a full-out bullpen game for San Diego, and Allen only pitches an inning or two.
Yeah.
But put it this way, if Milwaukee runs out a lineup for a lefty, and like Aguilar's batting 5th or so, and you've got 4 righties in the top 6, I'd still be interested in it. To me, it just seems low.
I agree. I'm really surprised. I'm going to keep an eye on this line because it's keeping me off of the Brewers and I'm confused by it. But regardless of what happens to this line, because it's not going to go down. Ryan Braun at 3,100 at 5% ownership on FanDuel. That number should probably be 4 times that.
Right. Exactly. Even Lorenzo Cain.
Yeah. Lorenzo Cain at no ownership. So
how about this? The Brewers opened at 4.7. It's down to 4.3. So it's moved down to 4.2 up to 4.3.
Public knows something about Logan Allen that we don't know, man.
Maybe. But I did have the Padres at 3.4. They're at 3.3. And they're monster dogs at home, which just bodes even better for Woodruff if you needed one more reason to play him.
This is going to be the biggest enigma game on the slate because of how much power is in these Milwaukee bats, because a 4.2 run implied total is just bonkers low for them. I don't care what park they're playing in. It's not like Petco is the same thing that it's been in the past. It's still a pitcher's park. Don't get me wrong, but it's not Oakland.
No, and those renovations,
not San Francisco.
Those renovations have clearly made for more home runs over the past several years.
They have. So that's where we're at. 15 games up, 15 games down, coming in under the 2-hour window, even with some venting at the top and some talk about Ryan Howard. Yeah. So kudos to us. I mentioned it in the middle of the show. Coming up at 2:30, Ben and Tim are going to talk about the Travelers Tournament PGA. We'll have the deeper dive coming from 4:45 to 6 with Lofty, with Adam, and with the boss man himself, Alex Baker. And then live before lock, 6 to 7, Chris Baggs, Jake Hari, taking you all the way up to 7:05. Lofty, any thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I'm exhausted. I might take a nap.
I'm gonna get the hell out of my house because we've got a showing in 35 minutes. So,
hey, good luck.
Thanks, man. Best of luck to everybody else. Hit the like button on your way out the door. MLB Strategies, the promo code, 50% off your first month with us. Shout out to Yahoo Sports for being the presenting sponsor. If you want to check out any of the contests that Yahoo is running, let me drop the link in here right now to Emacs article. There's going to be a link to Yahoo in the article itself. Use that link to sign up at Yahoo and get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. Use the promo code AWESOMO. Back tomorrow morning, myself and Adam breaking down however many games are happening on this lovely Wednesday slate tomorrow. But today, it's a Tuesday 15 gamer. Get your research in. We're out of here. Peace.
Peace.